check, 1, 2. Sure, Justin, I can talk. Check, check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, hello. If you are joining us on the stream, good evening. Welcome to Harbor Center. We're just getting a sound check in, guys, and we'll be here with you momentarily. Zamboni's around the ice, and we promise you won't miss a thing.
Well, thanks for your welcome. I think I'm a little bit hot, volume-wise, not looks-wise, if you want to take that down a little notch. You can't hear me at all?
It's an audio-only stream, Eric.
You can't hear me at all? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a sound delay between us and the stream. So. They have set up some lights. There appears to be a banner that is hanging out above the net to broadcast left, which
Soon
is
to
very
be
exciting.
unfurled. An underused word in the English language, I think.
Yeah, it's a good word. Check, check, 1, 2, 3. I've been talking the whole time. Like, you're going to hear me talk a lot.
So, a Buffalo Hockey Championship. What do you think about that?
I know I'm on the younger side of disenfranchised Buffalo sports fans, but it's very exciting to have a championship team here in the city that has struggled so long to get anything. And people have already flocked in here, pretty good crowd already, more people making their way in. It's exciting to have a championship team in Buffalo.
One might say electric.
Just waiting for that first big hit, that first big goal, waiting for the crowd to get really alive and into it.
Yeah, and there's no better place to no better team to face than a Boston team. I'm not sure how commonly it's known to our fans out there, but
I think it's pretty known.
Yeah, Boston and Buffalo
do not get along.
No es bueno.
And not only in the general scope of things,
Let me get a
but
sound
specifically,
check, guys.
Sure, Justin.
Let me hear myself for a second.
You sound good. Velvet Fog.
Not just in the general Buffalo versus Boston sense of things, but in the sense that these two teams have faced off now in the first two Isabel Cup finals, now one aside, each team emerging victorious. So you have the third season, and who knows where these two teams will ultimately end up. But a big early season match between two teams that have a history together, and a history that really begins and ends, at least as far as this season's story goes, with a game played in the championship last season where the Buffalo Buttes, who were a 3 seed coming into the playoffs, were not thought to really have much of a chance going into Boston, come in and upset the Giants in the league, and now they get to raise a banner here tonight at home ice as a result.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned earlier off mic that we this Boston team is completely fresh look. A lot of players that they took from the Connecticut Whale, Janine Weber, from the now Metro Riveters.
Also, just in their starting lineup alone tonight, there's going to be a player who suited up last year as an All-Star for Connecticut and a player suited up last year as an All-Star for the Riveters. And that's just in their starting 5 here tonight.
They also have former Buffalo defenseman Paige Harrington,
who gets to travel back here and be part of the ceremony with her teammates. I know former Buttes goaltender, now retired Brianne McLaughlin, made the trip up for this game.
Yeah, it's good to see those faces and the fresh faces on this team as well, although we'll be missing one of the fresh faces in Jess Jones. Her suspension announced yesterday, along with Sabres' leading points getter, Sarah Casorso.
Yeah, if you weren't with us on the broadcast last Saturday, and I always encourage you to go check it out. You can find it on the NWHL YouTube page in full. They have some highlights, and the full game is up there for your enjoyment. There were a lot of penalties taken in that game. The Buttes took 18, and Justin, now that you have your headphones on and your microphone in hand, if you want to speak to this as well, the third period of that game against the Riveters got a little sloppy. There were a lot of penalties called.
Yeah, a lot of frustration. There's more frustration than sloppiness, I guess. Yeah, it was a tough period all around just to watch and take in and call.
So 2 Buttes players, as a result of that game, are suspended for tonight's game. Eric mentioned this a moment ago. Jess Jones for a couple of infractions, most notably a face mask violation where she grabbed and pulled the helmet of Riveters forward Jenny Ryan just clean off her head and at a tangle about 4 minutes left in the game. And Sarah Casorso, who got involved as like a third or fourth skater in a fight in the corner, got 5 for charging in the game, was listed for fighting as well in her official write-up for why she's suspended tonight. So the Buttes will be without the services of those 2 players here for this game tonight. But they've got a couple players coming back into the lineup here, you'll see, and we'll talk about this as well. Taylor Acursi, who has 3 goals in 2 games for Buffalo so far, will move up to Jess Jones' spot on the top line with Vinton Bowie. And Eric, you tweeted these lines out the other day as a prediction of how you thought that coaches Mooney and Sealing might go here tonight with the revised availability of their players, and you seem to have hit the nail right on the head as far as who's going to be suiting up with who.
I did. Luck of the draw, I'll be getting a Powerball ticket on my way home tonight, so you guys may not see me next week. I might be purchasing an NWHL team.
Eric's one-off broadcast this season. We're glad he could be here with us. We're about 10.5 minutes or so away from puck drop. The Zambonis are off the ice. We'll have the banner raising ceremony available here for you as well. We're going to take a breather, guys. And when everything gets back on the ice, we'll be back here with you as well. You're listening to NWHL Action.
Let me start by thanking all the Buffalo Beauts fans. Your continued support, as it was that support that brought us to this moment. During the 2015-16 season, the Buffalo Beauts lost in a championship to the Boston Pride. In 2016 and 17, the Beauts had unfinished business from that loss. We're here tonight to one of those special athletes who brought you Buffalo's first professional hockey championship and made that business complete. As Buffalo still continues to chase Lord Stanley's Coveted Stanley Cup, we're here to present the championship trophy named in honor of its daughter, Isabel. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow athletes, let us join together in presenting championship rings and these athletes and the championship banner for the city of Buffalo as the 2016-17 Isabel Cup champions. Let's start with Maureen Bowie. Jordan Burns. Sarah Consorso. Lisa Jackson. Jackie Brimmer. Courtney Karachuka. Amanda Levier. Kelsey Newman. Taylor Parsons. Haley Skamura. Fans, help us welcome back to Buffalo, Wade Harrington. Morgan Blackburn Savino. And last but certainly not least, Brandon Bosley. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the scoreboard ultimately, where the Buffalo Beauts 2017 Isabel Cup Championship banner will be unveiled. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have one more big round of applause for Isabel Cup champion Buffalo
So as the players start walking back to their respective benches, we'll take this moment to welcome you all officially into the Harbor Center, downtown Buffalo, New York. It is a beautiful Saturday night to be inside watching some hockey here in Western New York. The Buffalo Beauts and the Boston Pride moments away from getting underway. Eric, one of the greatest unanswered questions in professional sports is walking back off the ice. The Isabel Cup still has no handles.
Yeah, it's a mystery, and there have been a couple of promises throughout the last few months that if then statements, if this happens, then we'll find out exactly what happened to the handles between the drop of the puck when the trophy had handles and the presentation at the end of the game when the trophy did not.
In 28 years, we'll finally, much like the JFK assassination, get some heavily redacted documents that finally answer one of life's greatest mysteries. What happened to the handles of the Isabel Cup? It is a festive atmosphere in here now. It is awesome to see the former Beauts back who made the trip up. Kelly Stedman and Brianne McLaughlin, who were such a big part of that 2016-2017 championship season, here getting recognized tonight, celebrating with their teammates. It's great atmosphere in this building.
Any success that Buffalo's had in the last 2 years can be attributed directly to either Kelly Stedman or Brianne McLaughlin. They've seen their share of great players, but the two of them really stood out and made Buffalo their home all the way from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Now the Beauts shift towards their third game of their season, their first official game in this building. They had some preseason games here. They had a home game at a neutral site rink, and now finally back in the friendly confines of Harbor Center. Get you your starting lineups here for tonight's action for Boston. Defensively, it is going to be Gagliardi with Lexi Bender. And then up front, we kind of alluded to this earlier on, Eric, a bunch of new acquisitions getting some big minutes for the Pride. Up front for them, it's going to be Haley Skarupa, who played last year All-Star for Connecticut. Janine Weber, who played last year as an All-Star for the now Metropolitan Riveters. And they will be playing out there as well with Emily Field. So a lot of new faces you'll see on the ice tonight wearing those sharp new black uniforms there for the Boston Pride.
Yeah, those three names are definitely familiar to any NWHL fan. Like you said, Weber and Skarupa, formerly of different teams, but Field, she's been a Beauts killer. She's got a few goals and a few assists, and those are games where maybe better known women were in the lineup, and she definitely made Buffalo pay for kind of taking her for granted.
And for Buffalo, we mentioned the line juggling here tonight with Jess Jones missing tonight's contest due to her one-game suspension. It'll be Taylor Acursi who jumps up front with Rebecca Vint and Corrine Bowie on the front line. And then Kayla Parsons and Colleen Murphy will pair together defensively with Amanda Levier getting her third start of the season now. In goal, we mentioned Brianne McLaughlin, her performance in that championship game really the biggest reason, you could say, and I don't think anyone really argue with you about how the Beauts came away with that victory. Now it's Amanda Levier's turn, though, to steer the ship in goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you talk to either one of the coaches, they'll mention Levier's performance in the opening round when Buffalo wasn't really expected to beat the Riveters, who were on a hot streak. They had Amanda Castleback, and everybody knows, what a threat she is any given time. So, they came out of that victorious, and Levier was responsible for that as well.
Slight correction to my lineups. The Beauts are actually going defensively up front to start with Burns and Chesson, 17 and 11. The person left out who I didn't mention in goal for Boston, no surprise to anyone who's ever watched the Pride play their last two seasons. It's Brittany Ott, who is as steady as they go in goal for the Pride tonight.
Yeah, and she struggled a little bit. Well, I don't know if I can really say struggle, but 2 consecutive losses for the Boston Pride, which isn't something that they're really known for, and especially Brittany Ott.
We're going to pause here for the anthems, guys. Be right back here with you for Puck Drop. Maybe not how they drew it up on this Veterans Day, but I think the most fitting tribute is having the crowd sing along.
Yeah, I think there wasn't a silent voice in the building for that, so that was kind of cool. A nice tribute for the Veterans Day game.
It is a great atmosphere in this building. We are moments away from puck drop. The Buffalo Beauts come into tonight's action 1-1, coming off a tough loss in Rochester last Saturday to the Metropolitan Riveters, a game in which they took 18 penalties, something we'll discuss a little bit more as this period goes on. Looking to get away from that and get back offensively. They struggled to create some zone time. Boston, and it's weird to almost say this, Boston comes in at 0-2. For the first time in their history, they've lost consecutive games, and now they come in trying to get back on the right track against a Buffalo team that came out of that championship game victorious against them just a few months ago.
Well, I think one thing that Buffalo has in their advantage is that Boston's never seen this lineup before, and it's a very highly skilled lineup. The lines that as Muni and Sealing have drawn them up are definitely unfamiliar to this Pride team. Aside from Corinne Bowie, it's pretty much all fresh faces.
Corinne Bowie, a former member of the Boston Pride, a winner of the Isabel Cup in her first season with them. Now looking to repeat here in Buffalo as the Beauts shift their focus with a banner behind them to defending the championship. Coach Rick Sealing in his speech before the game mentioned unfinished business. Well, that business was taken care of. And now they set their sights on the next goal, and it begins again here tonight at Harbor Center. We are underway. The Pride win the opening faceoff in behind her own goal. It's Alyssa Gagliardi. Leaves it back behind for Field. Head up pass, kicked ahead, and taken now by Weber. Taken off of her stick by a Kersey, and the Beauts looking to get out of their own end. Corinne Bowie gets a whack at it, knocks it back to neutralize. Quick 2-on-1 back the other way. Rebecca Vint winds and fires shot on to didn't get a rebound. Chance on backhand by a Kersey rising up over the crossbar. Skarupa back behind her goal, taken there by Gagliardi. Up ahead to Field, stretch pass intercepted, read by a Kersey. Right back in, Beauts with numbers again to Bowie, fires on. And a glove save made there by Brittany Yott. And a great first shift for this first line here tonight for the Beauts.
Yeah, it's a nice quick start, something that Buffalo struggled with for the first 2 years. But, this season they're outscoring their opponent in the first period. It's the first time they can say that as well. So a completely different league this year.
I love the addition to Kersey to that line. A little spark plug to go with the size and skill of Vincent Bowie.
Greco's pass back across her own blue line is dumped into the corner, chased after there by Haley Skamura. Skamura trying to spin out into the slot, had some help there for a second by Kunachika, but it's taken back the other way. That's Schwartz for the Pride. Her stretch passes away from its intended target, looking for Smelker. Mangine and Kunachika tie up in front of the Pride bench. It's dumped in behind the Boston goal. Johnson back to Smelker. Her pass deflected by Skamura, but floats back out to neutral ice. Dempsey had a whack at it, but Skamura there able to poke it back. Popped in front of the Beauts bench. And taken here by Schwartz. High off the glass, back to neutral ice. Dempsey's back pass looking through for Smelker. Tried to split the defense, got bumped by both members as she tried to walk through. Edney behind her goal. Hard pass around the boards, picked up here by Kunachika. Stick handles it back to neutral ice. Elia chasing after it for Buffalo. Her back pass looking to get it back to Kunachika, just a little bit too far out ahead, and back the other way come the Pride, 2-on-2. Stearns turning with it away from Parsons. In behind the Buffalo goal. Pride looking for their first shot of the game, still here just now 2 minutes in. And the first shift in Buffalo wearing a Pride uniform for former Butte Paige Harrington, who was out there with her team a few moments ago celebrating that Isabel Cup championship. There she is now with the puck in behind her own goal. Pass across to Gedman. Jostled for at the line, kept in there by Murphy on the first whack at it. Shurab is there as well. Boston able to fight it back. With a good play there made by Tomaselli for the Pride. Trying to follow it up as well, and the Pride take it back in, but Tomaselli a step ahead of the play. Gagliardi brought it into the zone offsides, and we'll have a face-off forthcoming.
And already we're seeing the Buffalo defense not really giving Boston anything. There's almost an odd man rush coming down the ice, but Buffalo got back quickly and was able to cover up.
Face off in front of the Buffalo bench across the ice from us here tonight. Picked up by a Kersey, but lost the handle on it. Back to Field, tried to scoop it down to Skarupa, back to Field. Field's pass in front is intercepted. A nicely played pass there by Lisa Chesson defensively for the Beauts, as this top line for Boston trying to get something going there. Janine Weber turning with it. Had it taken off of her stick, off the skate of a Kersey, though, and back to Weber. Her shot through traffic is blocked down, picked up here by Bowie, who backhands it back out to neutral ice. Gagliardi. Back the other neck on the Pride. Fields backhand pass is knocked down by Chesson. Very strong defensive shift here so far for Lisa Chesson. Another intercepted pass. And she throws this one ahead to Corin Bowie. Her bank pass just perfectly lands in front of a Kersey, trying to go one-on-one on the far side, but read there nicely by Kalia Johnson off the bench for Boston. Johnson with it. One hand on her stick in behind the goal. Jostled there by Elia, who takes it away for Buffalo. Back pass to Skamura is deflected into the corner. Kunachika pass back in front of the line. Greco gets a whack at it, deflected on and turned away by the left pad of Brittany Ott. Skarupa picks it back up. Teammate streaking down the wing. Read well there by Greco, trying to get it across the field. Picks it instead there. Backhand shot on through the slot by Jillian Dempsey. Whistle didn't blow. And we keep going. Mangine shot through traffic is blocked. Second whack at it. Help over the crossbar. Skamura picks it up here for Buffalo. Johnson at the line, able to keep it in. That one flutters. Dives just shy of the icing line. Ed needs backhand pass around to Greco. Back to Kunachika. Her pass across to Skamura, who will take center ice and fire it into the Boston end, go off for a change. Pride trying to catch Buffalo, getting fresh legs on the ice. It's turned in by Smelker all the way down onto the stick of Amanda Levier. Parsons juggles it. Second whack at it around to Shura. Fought for on that half wall. Comes loose in behind the Buffalo goal. Corey Stearns turning with it, but lost the handle, and Buffalo looking to get speed going back the other way. Here's Lewicki. Lewicki tried to drag it inside, had it taken off her stick. Both teams defensively strong in their own end so far. Parsons pass across back to Murphy. Her stretch pass through neutral ice is intercepted, and back and forth we go. Tomaselli drags it around, had it taken off her stick though nicely by Colleen Murphy. Lost her footing in behind the play. Stearns, though, for Boston, still with it. Back to the point. Gagliardi winds and fires. Her shot goes through the crease and goes just wide. Glove side on Levier. In behind the play, Lewicki with it for Buffalo. Her pass back out to neutral ice. A knockdown there and held, turning with it by Lexi Bender. Back to Tomaselli. Tomaselli gets collided with there. Taken out of the play by Murphy. Buffalo showed last week they are no strangers to the physical game. Tomaselli drags it inside. Second whack at it. It's taken on and turned away by Amanda Levier, who will hold on for a face-off. A great play there by Tomaselli, but answered.
Inadvertent toe drag. I think it got booted off another skate directly onto her stick, and Levier was sharp to close the gate on that one.
5.5 minutes gone here on our opening period. Face-off here to the right of Levier in the Buffalo goal is won back by the Pride, but the first player there is Bowie for Buffalo. They boot it back out here to neutral ice. It flutters up into the air and heads directly towards the Buffalo coaching staff, who will dodge out of the way as we have a face-off here forthcoming. Craig Mooney appears to be okay. Face-off coming up here. Shots early on, 4-2 in favor of Buffalo. Both teams have had a pretty good shot here so far. We remain scoreless. One hand on her stick, fought up ahead here by a Kersey, only as far as center ice, where it's knocked back in by Field, poked away by Vint. It's going to roll on to Levier, who will stick it away there to Burns. Weber. Taken away one more time by Burns. Her pass up ahead, knocked ahead by a Kersey. Taylor, a Kersey has some speed, she can get some room, but not allowed to get there. Taken out of the play there nicely by Kalia Johnson. Weber. Lost her handle on it, able to drag it through for a second, and Buffalo's defense again doing a good job staying in their lanes. As Haley Skarupa had it taken away behind the play. Gets it back. Back to Weber. Weber's pass across, shot on, turned away by Levier. A dangerous combination out there on the top line for Boston, and their best chance so far of the night. Skamura chasing hard after it. Taken away, though, now by Kunachika at the blue line. Courtney Kunachika turning with it, looking for some teammates. Back to Greco, shot wide. Andy pinching down to keep it there. Skamura down low to Kunachika, turning with it on her backhand in behind the Boston goal. Couldn't quite fight it out front, and the Pride take it back. Skarupa creates some room, fires that one on. That one caught off the goal stick of Levier into the corner. Skamura turning with it back in front of her own bench. Her pass across to Greco. Now the other way, Kunachika at the end of a long shift will tip it in. Her line goes off as Ott leaves it back behind her goal there for Gagliardi. Had her stick check there, taken back. A good job fresh off the bench there by Shurab. Bank pass up ahead, looking back for Shurab, who tips it back into the Boston zone, chasing after it there. Paige Harrington with a little bit of a height advantage over everyone, especially Shurab in that case, able to use her reach to win that puck back out to neutral ice. Boston unable to get past that center ice line as Harrington turns it back one more time here to Gagliardi. Stretch pass tipped on by Smelker, but deflected away nicely by Parsons. Fouled up by Smelker in the corner. Back to Gagliardi at the point. Deflected, glove down, taken there by Lewicki. As far as the line and back the other way. 2-on-1 for Buffalo. Shurab thinks about it, shoots on high up over the crossbar. Pride looking to answer quickly back with numbers of their own the other way. Forwards at the end of a long shift, not quite able to beat the Buffalo defense back down the ice. Shurab turns it back in and goes off for a change of her own in behind the Boston goal. Mangine picked up at center ice by Accursi. Jessen has her pass intercepted by Tomaselli. Tomaselli walks it in and fires. Save made by Levier. Big rebound of the slot, fired on and deflected through the crease and wide. Johnson back at the point, looking for a shooting lane, had it taken away and poked back the other way. Bowie banks it to herself off the glass and goes chasing after it onto the Boston end. But Mangine able to get a step on her and win it back to Tomaselli. Tomaselli's backhand back to neutralize is picked up by Buffalo. End-to-end action here in this first period. That puck off a stick goes all the way down the ice. They're going to say it avoided Kalia Johnson's stick. They're actually going to wave that one down for an icing call.
One thing that you could say about tonight's game that you might not have seen before is Buffalo is really in Boston's face. And anytime they've done that in the past, they've had success. But unfortunately, they'd get caught up kind of watching and hang back a little bit, wait for Boston to make the play. That is not happening tonight, and it's working for Buffalo so far.
Face off to the right of Levier, won by Boston. Skarupa's shot blocked down, though, scooped up the other way now and taken by Accursi. Taylor Accursi's pass across. Backhand chance on is turned away by Ott. Quickly back the other way, the speed of Buffalo there on that play. Accursi fighting off Harrington to get that puck in behind the goal. Tried to chip it around back the other way and does to Chesson. Bank pass back to Accursi. Waiting, looking for someone to open up. Accursi fired that one through the slot. It got deflected. I don't think it quite made it through to Brittany Ott. Harrington's pass fired back the other way, and here comes the Pride. Skarupa leaves it for Weber. Weber looking back for Skarupa. Pass just a little bit too far out of her reach. But able to collect and take it back the other way. Skarupa now to Gagliardi. Gagliardi spinning in behind the Buffalo goal. Tried to jam it in far side. Couldn't quite beat the defense there. And it's picked up here by Skamura. Haley Skamura turns and fires. That one deflected. Taken away by Kunachika. Pass across in front and just not quite able to be tucked home. It was Edney who creeped down from her defensive position who got that good chance there just wide. Walker side on Ott. They jam it at the side of the goal. It's pinned to the side of the net. No whistle, and it comes free to the far side as Buffalo forced now to recollect. Elia down below the goal line. Kunachika still with it. Great pressure here from Buffalo. Back to Greco at the point. Fires that one on to the crest of the jersey of Brittany Ott, who holds on for a faceoff.
You know, it's hard to say in a league that has about 100 players, but Courtney Kunachika is an underrated hockey player. She's so brilliant, and every single move she makes with that puck is just genius. She sees plays that nobody else sees. Catching Greco behind the circle on that last pass, the entire rest of the players were on the other side of the ice, and Kunachika saw Greco and got that through.
Big defensive zone win there for Boston as they look to alleviate some of this Buffalo pressure. Delayed offsides as the Pride pick it back up. Mangine across to Johnson. Kicked ahead by Smelker and taken right away by Lewicki. Lewicki drags it in front. Lewicki, chance on, turned away. Rebound chance, they score! Speed kills and Buffalo's up 1-0. Lewicki creates the chance and it's tucked home by Schroka.
And that's that Adrian trio that we've been talking about all season long. They finally get together and this is what happens. Shurab was in the exact right spot to bang that puck home, knowing what Lewicki was going to do, knowing that rebound could come the opposite direction. There was nobody there for her. She just banged it home, and it's 1-0 Buffalo on the Defend the Crown night.
Lewicki caught Kalia Johnson going back the other way and was able to cut right on Brittany Ott. Ott made a good save on the first effort, but not much she could have done about the rebound. And just the kind of start you want here tonight in front of your home crowd, in front of an energy-filled building. Give your home fans something to cheer about early on.
This is the loudest I've heard it in this arena so far.
Stroka fired in behind the Boston goal, comes around far side. It's knocked down there by Mary Parker. Buffalo keeping the pressure on. Parsons fired through traffic, goes wide. Paige Harrington now chasing after it. Jostles there with Stroka, now gets it up ahead to Tomaselli. Had it taken away for a second, but fouls it up, drags it through, and not a good time for Happy Sticks as Buffalo's going to take a penalty coming out off of this. Delayed call on just as Ott gets to the bench. The referee's whistle blows. The Beats have taken possession, and no argument from the Wiki, who will sit for 2 for tripping.
Yeah, she poked at the puck and caught a skate instead, and you know sometimes that happens, I guess.
So Buffalo's penalty kill saw a lot of time in their game last Saturday against the Riveters. We mentioned 18 penalties in total were taken.
Yeah, still the best in the league. They have allowed only 3 goals against on the penalty kill, and given that they've had more than 20 penalties against, that's a pretty good percentage there.
And a couple of those that were scored by the Riveters last week were 5-on-3s. Gagliardi sets it up across. Shot from Bender is blocked down. Taken here and fired right back down. A big part of that effort last week was that player right there. Rebecca Vinn out there with Bowie, and then we'll see who comes out in the second inning. Devino Scamura did a great job for the Buttes last week as well, killing those penalties. Gagliardi. Up ahead, taken by Skarupa, cutting into the slot. Skarupa had it knocked off her stick there by Chess and collects the puck and calmly fires it all the way back down the ice. So a good start here for this Buffalo penalty kill. 30 seconds gone. Puck's already gone the length of the ice twice. Gagliardi turning in her own zone, hounded there by the aforementioned Haley Scamura. That one deflects off of Greco's stick, goes back the other way. Skarupa patiently waiting, taking her time. Back to Gagliardi now to the far side corner. Pride looking to get set up here. Gagliardi shot through traffic, deflected and goes wide. Field recollects him behind the goal. Tries to drag that pass in front, loose on the far side of goal, and forced to turn with it and unable to get a shot off there is Weber. Skarupa with it. Back to the point. Gagliardi fires through traffic, and a left pad save made there by Levier. All sorts of tangled up in front of the goal with Emily Field.
Field needs to watch herself. They'll stop play if there's contact with the goalie in the crease.
Picks it up and gets back to the point to Johnson. Across to Mangine, fires. That one's blocked and stung Elia. Deflected off the side of goal, blocked down there by Greco. Her backhand to the far side. Kept in by Johnson. Field now turning with a pass in front, is deflected all the way to the blue line, but kept in. A good play there by Johnson. Across to Mangine, but it read well the whole way and fired right back down the ice. And Elia, who was stung early on that shift, able to fight through and clear the zone.
Yeah, she still looks like she's treating that foot tenderly. Hopefully she's ready next time she's called upon.
Boston back the other way now. Just 2 seconds now. One as Buffalo takes it back the other way. Shurab as we return to full strength. In behind the play, jostles with Mangine, taken right back by the Pride, and a great showing first time out for Buffalo's penalty kill. Only one Boston shot. Shura back the other way now, waiting for her teammates to join her as she drags it in behind the Boston goal. Had taken off her stick nicely, though, by Mangine. Dempsey leaves it there for Tomaselli. Tomaselli turning with it. Skates it through neutral ice, turns and dumps it in. That one hops away from Levier, comes into the near side corner. Chesson trying to find her footing. The jostle to his side. Chesson still fighting after it. Comes loose and Buffalo takes it back the other way. And it's Shurab again, who just seems to be everywhere the puck is so far in this shift. Back to Lewicki. And Shurab, though, a step ahead of the play. Buffalo is off sides.
And again, another nice chemistry play. Shiroka getting the puck up to Shurab, breaking it up the ice. Just one of those things where you know exactly where your player is going to be and you get it to her. That's just fun to see.
Face-off back out here on neutral ice as they announce the goal for the home crowd, and there's an energy in this building. I know Eric mentioned it. As far as crowds in this building go, this is the loudest and the most energetic I've ever felt this building for a Buttes home game. And it is a great atmosphere tonight as they raise that banner in behind Levier in goal. Back the other way, Vint with some room. Rebecca Vint shot on, turned away by Yacht. Couldn't find it immediately, but able to cover up and hold on for a big whistle as there were 3 Buttes players creeping looking for that rebound.
Yeah, it's a lot of blue down on that blue, as it were, and they were definitely collapsing on that net, waiting for the rebound. Ott was wise to close the gates on that one.
So the faceoff will come down here to the Boston end with 5:33 remaining here in the first. Kersey tried to drag it in, turned away by Yacht. She sprawled out and has the puck. It is right at the net, right off that faceoff, and Brittany Yacht Strong in goal to turn that one away. 5:29 remaining here in our first period. Face off back here to the left of the Boston goal. One back there by the Pride's Weber. Off the glass and taken here by Field. She'll turn with it. Stretch pass, kick down up ahead. Lots of open ice for Haley Skarupa. Walks in and a blocker save is made by Levier. That's a lot of room to give one of the most dangerous offensive players in the game in Haley Skarupa.
Yeah, I think Burns was trying to play the 2-on-1, but you don't want to let Skarupa go free to the net. That's not a good plan.
Gagliardi's pass across is blocked away and taken back by Vint. Back out to neutralize Boston on delayed offsides. Back out to neutralize as Buffalo collects. Corin Bowie. Taken here by Vint. Faked the shot to create some room for herself. Turning with it as she tangles up with Gagliardi. There are 5 players fighting for a puck pinned between Gagliardi and Vince Skates here in the Boston zone. It comes loose eventually, though, to Dempsey. Turns it back behind her own goal, Kalia Johnson. Her pass is deflected, taken away by Skamura. Joining the play and spinning with it. I think Aaliyah's foot looks okay.
Yeah, she seems all right. Back
behind the play to Kunachik in front for Skamura, and her shot blocked up over the crossbar by Kalia Johnson. Some pretty passing from the Buttes. Aaliyah drags it back inside again, created the room, and couldn't find the handle on the shot. She had Ott leaning the other way.
The Buttes are just putting on a school right now. This is amazing to see.
Skarupa's pass deflected up ahead. Gets it back now. Skarupa, 1-on-2, drags it through. Her shot blocked down. Never got its way through to Levier. Kalia Johnson turns it back in. Stopped there by Levier. Leaves it behind for Sarah Edney. Across to Greco, they play catch. Edney back behind her own goal. We have 3:45 remaining here in our opening period. Edney fires that one on, blocked down by Mangine. Followed up here by Lewicki. Backhand chance goes just wide. Smelker back the other way here for Boston. Drags it in front of the Buffalo bench, fires that backhand in and goes chasing after it. Jackie Greco fires it around. Comes to the blue line, knocked in by Harrington. Her shot deflected down by Edney, who turns it back to the wall where it's picked up here by the Buffalo goal scorer, Schroka. Lewicki. That speed again on display. Juggles it around. Kept in by Schroka. Tried to fire that back to Lewicki, but it's intercepted, run all the way there by Paige Harrington. 3 minutes to go now here in a quick first period. Up and down the ice we go. Buffalo with the only goal here thus far. Kayla Parsons. Turning with it up ahead. Accursi couldn't quite find the handle, forced back into her own zone. Ahead, her pass is intercepted. Followed up the other way now, though, by Rebecca Vint. One hand on her stick, cuts in front of the Boston bench, and had it taken away there by Bender. Here's Bowie. Trying to go wide on Gagliardi. They collide and both go down as Boston clears the zone. Fired all the way down the ice. Looks like it's going to stop short of icing. It will, as Parsons is back below that ice, before that icing line. Tomaselli keeps it in here for Boston. Tomaselli turning with it, lost the handle. Accursi back the other way. That bank pass to herself as she tries to beat Mangine to the puck and couldn't quite. Trying to spring herself on a stretch pass, and Boston's defense just a little bit too quick. Kept in, though, in that Boston zone by Elia. Elia tried to go in behind for the wraparound, had it taken away by Mangine. Still with it, though. Elia back to the point. Jordan Burns shot through traffic, deflected wide of goal. Under 2 to go here in our opening period here from Buffalo tonight. Kept in by Chesson. Her pass down low. Kunachika. Turning with it in that corner. Comes free with it still. Looking for that tic-tac-toe pass in front back to Skamura, and they couldn't quite get it to her. Elia back to Kunachika. Fire save made by Ott, and she's quick to pounce on the puck there for the face-off. And Buffalo's offense is buzzing.
Yeah, you know, Buffalo's first line maybe looking the worst, if I could classify it as that tonight. This third line, or the second line of Elia, Skamura, and Kunachika is just taking Boston to task, and obviously the lone goal coming from the Adrian trio. So it's a great game so far.
Face-off won by the Pride, but kept in by Greco, if only for a second. Harrington's pass ahead back the other way. That is Schwartz streaking for it. That one deflected into the corner. Knocked back out there by Shurub. All the way down into the Boston end as we approach the 1 minute mark now of this first period. Back the other way now, turning with it is Dempsey. Dempsey crosses center ice, full head of steam, cutting wide on the near side. Looking for a shooting lane. Backhand chance on, turned away by Levier. Rebound was there for a second for Schwartz, but it's covered up by the Buffalo netminder for a faceoff.
And that was a nice play by both players. Dempsey getting to the front of the net and Levier staying with her and making herself big at the top of the crease, giving her really nothing to shoot at.
Faceoff will stay down here in the Buffalo end. 46.3 seconds remaining still in our opening frame. Pride on the puck off the draw. It's Janine Weber turning with it. Murphy knocks it back to the point, kept in and fired by Gagliardi, but kicked down here and picked up by Bowie. Her pass a little bit out of the reach of Accursi. Still chasing after it. Avoided both Accursi and Bender and forcing out of the goal. 25 to play. Stretch pass the other way, picked up here by Skarupa. Skarupa, her shot on is gloved and held by Levier. Taking no chances. She'll hold on for another face-off.
And that was nice defense on Skarupa. Murphy was having a hard time keeping up with Weber. Weber had this straight line to the net, but the pass was taken away. Beautiful defensive play.
Face-off here to the left of Levier in goal. Boston keeps that top unit out there. Buffalo gets some fresh legs of their own out there to defend. That second line that Eric was just mentioning, looks like a combination of lines here coming out. Try to kill these last few seconds. Face-off tied up, then won back by the Buttes. Taken behind her own goal here by Jordan Burns. Fired up ahead, knocked ahead now by Bowie. Deflected by Vint all the way back down to the Boston. We're under 10 seconds to go. Weber turning with it, looking for one last rush. Janine Weber fires on gloved and held by Levier. Tried to throw it into the corner, but the referee's whistle had already blown with 2.1 seconds to go. So we'll have one more face-off in spite of her best efforts. Buffalo will look to get through this period without allowing another shot like that onto their goaltender. 13-10 shots on goal here through the vast majority of the first period.
Yeah, that seems closer than it should be.
Knocked away onto the far side boards, and just like that, we are through 20 minutes here in an action-packed first period here at the Harbor Center. The Buffalo Buttes, on the strength of a goal by Kaylin Schroka, lead the Boston Pride by the score of 1-0. Eric and Justin, curious your guys' thoughts on what you think Buffalo did differently here in the first period as opposed to last week where they really struggled in the first 20 minutes.
This is a much different team that we saw last week in Rochester. This is the Buttes that we know. Last week they looked kind of clunky and slow, and they weren't finding the open ice, and when they did, the passing wasn't there. Tonight you're seeing a very quick team, and they're getting open, and their passing is on point. And the creativity, much more creativity than we saw last week. And the addition of Cordy Kunachika to that line with Ilya and Skamura, it just it's top notch. And just seeing Courtney on the wing, allowing more freedom on offense, it's really adding a dynamic to this team that we've never seen before.
Yeah, and giving her the opportunity to control the play. It's really just opening up a whole new avenue for Buffalo that I think we've talked about it in the past, maybe in the preseason. She didn't really have that last year. She kind of had to keep Skeets and Brown under control. This season, that's not an issue for her. She's able to get out there and show what she's got, and also allow Ilya and Skamura to really show what they have. In Ilya, her puck handling is, I don't know what she did before the game tonight, but she's got to do that every night.
Kunachika is almost like a calming presence on that line. It calms them down and levels them out. And Ilya, I think I said it earlier in the year that she will be our Kelly Steven replacement when she got hands for days and a shot that when she gets it off, it's unbelievable.
She came so close on that one move where she was able to create some space and had Brittany out beat, but just couldn't find the handle on it. It's one of those things where once she figures out how to get all those elements of her game together, this is a really dangerous player that Buffalo has chilling out there on their second line here tonight. The whole offense really showed their skills, but defensively also, there's a lot of really talented forwards here on this Boston team. Let's not discount that. Defensively, this Buffalo team got pinned back a lot last week, took a lot of bad penalties, spent a lot of time in their own zone. Here tonight, that hasn't been the case.
I think putting Greco back there with Edney, it's got to be one of the top defensive pairings in the NWHL right now. And what can you say about Lisa Cheston, former silver medalist, still playing and really she's a difference maker every time that she's on the ice for this Buffalo team.
Guys, we're going to take a breather here as we have some young players out on the ice here taking a shootout here. We'll be back with second period action here. You're watching the NWHL on Cross Ice Pass. Welcome back to the Harbor Center here, downtown Buffalo, New York. We are just a couple of minutes away here from second period action here between the Buffalo Beauts and the Boston Pride here. NWHL action, first game here this season in Buffalo. The Beauts leading on home ice through 20 minutes of play by the score of 1-0 is the first NWHL goal by Kaylin Schroka that has the Beauts on the board. A lot to digest there in the first period. 23 shots on goal. Both teams had good possession time. What really stood out for you there, Eric, as far as a turning point there in that first period that allowed Buffalo to take that lead?
Well, I really think it was just Buffalo has kept the pressure on Boston for the entire game. You know, they stayed in their face the whole time, and they're forcing Boston to make mistakes, and then they're taking advantage. How many odd man rushes, odd woman rushes did we see especially in the beginning of that first period?
There were a lot early on.
Just from banging that puck forward and being ready to go.
Justin, we saw the Beauts play a tough 20 minutes last Saturday in Rochester. What stood out to you as something they've done much better here tonight that has allowed them to take the lead through 20 minutes of play, something they didn't do last week against the Riveters?
They're breaking out their weak side winger a lot faster than they were last week, and they're just kind of chipping the puck out to center ice, hoping they catch it. And that's what a lot of those 2-on-1s you talked to attributed to right there.
Just about a few seconds away here from getting back to action. Thank you for joining us here this Saturday night. I'm Jeff Boyd, joined here by Eric Wolschlager and Justin Ehrig, as I will be throughout the course of the entire season. Happy to be back here at our home rink for the first time here in the regular season action. Buffalo Beauts in their home powder blue uniforms will be skating from right to left on your stream here. In our second period, the Boston Pride in the visiting black uniforms with white and gold trim will be skating from left to right. We have everyone on the ice. We are underway. Same starting fives for both sides here in our second period as we get underway. Buffalo wins the opening draw. Chesson across to Burns. Back pass across there. Corin Bowie with some room to work with. Takes it into the Boston end. Turns one on to Ott. And early on, a chance there for Buffalo. Ott will hold on for a faceoff just 13 seconds in.
Those are the quick rushes that Buffalo really needs to take advantage of there. A nice shot by Bowie, but you might want to see that go far post off a leg, and Kersey was right there to bury that puck, just like the last goal that Buffalo scored.
Face-off tied up, one there by the Beauts, thrown back on to Ah, who will poke that one away, back the other way. Now come the Pride. Gagliardi jumping up into the play. Back pass across, tried to jam it in. Levier kept the leg there, and I don't know if she got a piece of it, but ultimately the puck there back to neutral ice. Buffalo now with some room and some numbers. Rebecca Vitt fires, blocker save made by Ott. Vin tries to drag it through, comes loose on the corner where it's picked up by Weber. Taken now by Field. Taken away from her by Chesson. Puck loose, still there in the Buffalo offensive zone, picked up here by Haley Skamura. Fires it back down there, Kunachika. To the point to Burns across. Kept in onside play, knocked down by Edney, out of the reach of Elia. And Boston able to recollect. Mangine's head up pass, though, all the way down the ice, way away from Skarupa, and that will go for an icing call. 1:13 gone already here in the second period. Buffalo already with 3 quick shots.
Yeah, and I think Buffalo's shoot-first mentality is really coming to the forefront in this game so far. Not only are they leading in shots, which isn't something that we're really used to seeing from them, especially in the last 2 seasons, but they're really getting some quality chances on those shots, too.
Face-off to the right of Ott in goal. One back again by the Beauts. Dominating the face-off circle here early on here in the second period. Skamura leaves it there for Elia. Back to Edney at the point. Her shot through traffic deflected into the equipment of Brittany Ott. Pops up, and she'll snag it with her catching glove and hold on for a face-off. No rebounds there so far off these shots for Buffalo. Ott's done a good job of keeping these to one-and-done chances.
Yeah, and that's what she does really best, is eliminate those second chances. It's been kind of her calling card for the last couple of seasons, and it really does help this Boston team out, especially as they're struggling so far in the early going of the season.
One back behind the Boston goal, tied up there. Kalia Johnson turning with it, takes it back for the Pride. Johnson, backhand high off the glass, back to neutral ice where it's gloved down by Greco. Fires a pass across, hoping for Elia. Puck pinballs around and is taken back here by Smelker for the Pride into the Buffalo end. Smelker dumps it and chases after it. Greco tried to win it around, but it's taken away there by Dempsey, turning with it back to Smelker. Looking in front for Schwartz, her pass deflected there by Greco, comes loose in the crease for a second, but it's knocked away by Edney. First whack at it by Kunachika, knocked down and kept in here, turning with it again. Smelker all over the ice on this ship, passing in front, looking for Schwartz off the side of the cage. Smelker turning with a bank pass back to the point. That one knocked through and patted away there. Shot came through from Gedman, knocked away by Levier. Suarez. Back down low, pass up front, looking back to the point.
It's fortunate for Buffalo, who was looking a bit tired on that long shift.
Looking back for Gedman to split the D. But Boston right back in. Tomaselli's pass across, looking for the backdoor pass. It was Parker who was there, and the Buffalo defender, Greco, sliding across, trying to break the pass up, actually skated right through and slid into the post. So we have a face-off, a rather fortuitous event there perhaps for Buffalo. Face-off down here in the Buffalo end. Just over 2.5 minutes gone here, and action-packed first 2.5 here in our second period. Face-off to the right of Levier in goal. One here by the Pride, pass in front, deflected away. And a little bit of miscommunication again there. Parker trying to leave it for Gedman. Susan, that was Stearns trying to leave it there for Gedman. Boston plays it all the way back into their own end. Pass intercepted and neutralized by Murphy, but you can't find the handle. It's in Stearns' skate, spins with it and keeps it on her stick. Stearns' pass across is intercepted there, and back the other way. Buffalo with a lot of open ice. Schroka. Pass across, looking back for Shurab and just out of her reach. Back down below the goal line, Schroka. Turning with it, this trio played together at Adrian College. Have the first goal here tonight for Buffalo. Fan appeals for a penalty call, none forthcoming in the corner as Shurab got tangled up. Finds the puck, still on it though. Second time she goes down, she is going to draw that penalty. There's two Pride players who have a 2-on-0, and none of this will matter as a penalty is forthcoming here to Boston, and Tomaselli is disappointed to find out she can't actually turn that one on to Levier as the whistle blows.
Levier was ready nonetheless, but as you said, fortunately, Buffalo's going to get their first opportunity on the power play, where they've been pretty solid so far this season.
Two of their goals in that game against the Riveters last week came with the extra skater.
And we're going to see a Kersey out here. She's got 2 of Buffalo's power play goals so far this season and her 3.
It'll be interesting to see what they do here without Casorzo in the lineup. But Casorzo, they usually have all things flow through her, but she's not in the lineup tonight, so we'll see what they do.
And Casorzo played some forward for Buffalo last year, so even though she's a defenseman in the lineup, it's like having a fourth forward out there too, which gives you so much flexibility on the power play. Pass there from Vince, skips over the blue line, back out here to neutral ice. Taken away by Field. Back checking, though, is a Kersey. It will come and knock it back to Vint. Edney trying to lead that pass up ahead back to Vint, but it's only black jerseys there, and floated right back down in behind Levier, where Jordan Burns will chase after.
That's what Justin was saying. This looks a little bit disorganized. Hopefully they can turn it back up for this last minute and a half.
Edney's stretch pass over the stick of Vint. On to Ott, though. Icing waved off as Kalia Johnson goes back, picks it up. It's deflected down red well there by a Kersey. Scoops it in behind the Pride goal. Taylor Kersey turning with it. Creating some room, leaves it there for Burns. Back to Vint. Back pass here near side to Bowie. Bowie winds it, fires, shoulder save made by Ott. Rebound chance on from a Kersey. Just missed. Kept in at the line, though, by Jordan Burns. Mangine turning with it, looking for some ice. Couldn't get it out. Glove down by Bowie. Bowie down low, stretch pass just out of the reach of Vint, looking back in front for a Kersey. Hops over the net. Backhand chance for a Kersey. She scores!
And, you know, that was a broken play to begin with. Boston had cleared the zone thinking they had turned over possession. We're hoping for a shorthanded chance. And Buffalo had 5 on 2. Able to take advantage, get that puck bouncing around in front of Ott, and a Kersey buries this slow dribbler out underneath the diving Brittany Ott.
A goaltender's nightmare with some of those deflections in front of the Boston goal. And Taylor Kersey there to take advantage. It is her 4th of the season for the Buttes, the 3rd on the power play, and they're buzzing again at Harbor Center. It is 2-0 in favor of the home team, the Buffalo Buttes. Skamura off that face-off, scoops it right back down into the Boston end, chased after there by Elia. Working there with Skamura, her backhand pass in front for Kunachika. Spins back and creates some room. Kunachika back to Parsons. Shot deflected on and held by Ott. And Buffalo's offense throwing everything they can at Brittany Ott, who is wise to hold on for a whistle and a break.
A good idea by Parsons just to float that puck. She had 2 Buttes between she and Ott, and both kind of had a swipe at it. Neither able to make contact, but if they do, that's almost a guaranteed goal.
It's 2 of her teammates who have the longest reaches, too, in Skamura and in Aaliyah, so you never know what pucks they can and can't get to. They're able to get some good angles on those deflections.
Fortuitous indeed.
Face-off won back there by the Pride as Gagliardi turns with it and knocks it back out here to neutralize. A big defensive zone win there for the Pride as they look to get some of their own offense going. A little bit of a bobble pass there rolls back onto Levier from Parsons, and Levier will just pounce on that and have none of it for a face-off.
It's a little bit of a soccer play, but I don't think Levier was ready to clear it back up the ice.
Just under 5.5 gone here in the second period. Taylor Kersey's fourth of the season has given the Buttes that 2-0 lead. Face-off won back here by the Buttes on their own end. Skating in behind her own goal with the head up here is Lisa Chesson. Full head of steam through neutralize all the way down to the Boston end. Chesson's pass across, looking for Kunachika, just out of her reach. Pride looking back the other way. Parker couldn't find the handle, and Chesson is all the way back into her own end to take that puck away on the back check, and it's a 2-on-1 for Buffalo if they hurry. Kunachika across to Aaliyah, drags it around. Backhand chance, she scores.
And Elia, the Buffalo native, gets her first NWHL goal here on home ice in front of this home crowd. What a beautiful move she had. Drag it by the heel, get it by Ott, and Kunachika playing that 2-on-1 perfectly, getting it right under the defender. Justin, what'd you see?
What a play by Lisa Chesson there, bringing the puck down the ice, back check and getting the puck back, and the presence of mind to realize the Pride were changing, and look at the opposite side of the rink, wide open, Cordy Kutchik over here, and there was no chance for the Pride. 2-0 Buttes.
And now the other game that we have going on tonight is final, so that's 5-1 in advantage of the Metro Riveters, and you know, last week's game really is the difference at top of the league so far this season.
Yeah, Buttes now trying to keep pace, and what a start to this second period for them in doing so. It is the first NWHL goal for Maddie Aaliyah. It is 3-0, and she's going to get the highlight reel goal out of all that. But Justin, you mentioned the play of Lisa Chesson, taking the puck all the way down to the offensive end, back checks and wins it back, and then it's Courtney Kunachika as calm and collected as can be with a beautiful saucer pass across. Pride swarming there, shot by Mangine goes just wide. Talia Johnson out of Dempsey looking back for Suarez, but taken away by Schroka, the first of the 3 Buffalo goal scorers tonight. Now all 3 Buffalo lines have accounted for one of the goals. Stretch pass the other way out of the reach of Lewicki. It's going to slow down short of icing as Mangine's back to take it for Boston. Their pass ahead here to Field. Blocked down here by Edney. Slow roller in behind her own goal. Backhand pass up the boards taken there by Shurik. She's knocked down. Boston recollects. Skarupa drags it into the slot pad. Save made by Levier. Man, Skarupa does not need much room to work with. Stick handling in a phone booth, creating the best chance here for Boston in this period. That one turned on and turned away by Levier. Pass through the crease, goes back to Parrington to the point. She'll wind and fire, deflected on into the crest of the jersey of Levier, who will hold on for a whistle.
You know, Buffalo looks a little bit anxious now that they've got the 3-0 win, and the 3-0 lead. And Levier has been solid back there, staying sharp and making some really important saves to keep them out in front.
Yeah, it seems almost as if that third goal kind of woke up Boston. You're just seeing signs of life here from out of the Pride.
Boston is a team that coming into tonight has only lost 6 times in their history. They know how to win games, and they're not going to shrink away from the competition here tonight. Here's a Kersey back the other way looking for Bowie. Her pass deflected, glove back down the other way. And a good play made there by Parker. Up ahead to Tomaselli. Back and pass ahead to Parker. And a great job getting back from Bowie to contest. The new Buffalo captain, end to end, doing what she can for her team here. Tomaselli looking back, couldn't quite get it through to Stearns. And it's knocked down below the Buffalo goal line there by Vin. Has Parsons there helping her out, but Tomaselli takes it away one more time. Tomaselli back up high. Mangine across to Gagliardi. Once it fires, deflected up over into the corner here where it's picked up by Parsons. Thought it was going to float over the net and kicking to the corner. Really threw off the sentence I was going to try to finish there. In behind the Boston goal. It's stopped by Ott and left there for Mangine. Her pass back out of the reach of Gagliardi. And a good job following up there by Smelger, who goes chasing after it. Smelger has it taken away by Jordan Burns. And this pair of Burns and Chesson here defensively tonight for Buffalo has been big in keeping Boston to the outside. Smelger turns it back down below the goal line. There's Maddie Aaliyah as her goal gets announced over public address, celebrating her first NWHL goal here. And what a beauty it was. Dempsey, her shot deflected, shouldered off by Levier. Back to the point, kept in. Mangine, pass in front for Dempsey, deflected away. Burns calmly turning with it in front of her own goal. on her backhand off the boards. Ahead, Kunachika trying to fight it out. Finds the handle, and she'll just take her time. And just the veteran presence here by Courtney Kunachika. Down to the Boston end. The Pride looking to recollect, looking for an answer here. Buffalo 2 goals already here in the second period. Threatening to run away if Boston can find something here in their offensive end. Fired in behind the Pride goal, picked up here by Mangine. Turn back around here, Kalia Johnson up to Skarupa. Floats that pass ahead out of the reach of Field, but Weber chasing after it. Will get to it. They're going to call an icing. Weber, I thought, was fairly clearly the first player down there.
Yeah, I mean, she was skates width away from the puck over the end line, and that's an odd call by the officials there, but we'll take it.
So we'll come all the way back down to the Boston end instead. Buffalo benefiting there from a generous icing call, we'll call it. And we'll have a face-off here to the right of the Boston goal. Brittany Ott not too happy with it as she voices her frustrations to the officials. The last thing you want to have when you're a goaltender is getting swarmed here by the other team's offense is to have your teammates trapped out there on an icing call like that. Skarupa leaves it back here from Mangine. Up ahead, back to Skarupa. Into the Buffalo zone. Haley Skarupa tried to drag it through the defense and played nicely the whole way there. 1-on-4 as she allows some of her teammates to get off for a change. Field collides there. We have a penalty forthcoming. I believe Field stuck out her leg and got Lewicki. And Buffalo's going to go to the power play.
Yeah, they were dangerous last time and looking to capitalize again here, put themselves up by 4 goals. That'll be a considerable lead. Not one that's insurmountable by this Boston team by any means, but definitely give Buffalo a little bit more of an edge.
If there's one thing I've learned in 3 seasons now of calling NWHL games is there is absolutely no lead that is safe until the final whistle blows in the third period.
That is definitely true.
Buffalo is 1 for 1 on the power play tonight. They'll go to their second here now, face off to the right of Ott. Gets it at the point, fired through by Bowie. Pad save, rebound chance in front. Second pad save by Ott. She got the third one, too, as the net comes off its moorings. And that is the definition of keeping your team in one. Maddie Aaliyah was on the doorstep and had 2 good whacks at it, and Brittany Ott turned them all away.
Yeah, and they're going to freeze that puck because they're going to say that Aaliyah made contact with Ott in the crease, and now that's not a penalty, but it will stop play in the NWHL.
It is Field for Boston, who will sit for 2 or less. That was all of 9 seconds of the Buffalo power play, and you can tell they're feeling comfortable out there. They got some good practice last week. The Riveters, for their own right, took their fair share of penalties. Puck is tied up underneath a Boston player who lost their footing there on the wall. Buffalo trying to keep it in. Murphy sweeps it. Up ahead looking for Skamura, who drags it through. Skamura, shot on, turned away by Ott. Rebound chance laid there for a second for Aaliyah, but hopped over her stick, and Gagliardi will find the handle on it. Fire it back down the ice. Murphy. Back ahead, Kunachika. Trying to wait it out there, but it's taken away by Smelker. Great job of getting back by Skamura. Lost it, though, in the skates of Weber. Janine Weber with some room. Backhand tried to drag it through, and a great job there challenging by Levier. Got it with her right leg. Skamura in behind the goal. Picked up here by Murphy. Patiently waiting now. Boston's penalty kills come up much more aggressive here. Buffalo did allow a shorthanded goal to the Riveters last week. Aaliyah. And she goes down as Boston clears the zone.
That was a bit of a stick to the back of the skate, and maybe could have been another penalty there.
Under 40 seconds remaining here on this Buffalo power play, their second of the evening. Taken up ahead here by Lewicki. Strong on the puck and turning with it now in the Boston end. Lewicki across to Shereb. Shereb waiting. Down low and gets it back. To the point, kept in onside by Chesson. So Lewicki deflected in front. Turning with it is a Kersey back to Shereb. Couldn't quite get a handle on it. Shereb's second whack at it. Fired up over the crossbar. 3 seconds now, 2 on the power play. Chesson across to Lewicki. Boston's back to full strength. Schroka turns one on, deflected just wide by Shereb. Collides there with Harrington as Boston takes it back the other way. Schwartz across. Field out of the box. Emily Field in behind the Buffalo goal. 8 minutes to go here in our second period as Boston looking to keep the pressure on here. Field surrounded by blue jerseys. Finally relents, and it's taken back here by Edney. Edney fires it into the Boston end. Slowed down there by Ott, and Boston will pick it back up here. Penalty forthcoming, I believe. Nope, it's a late offsides. As Boston takes it back the other way, and there's an actual offsides. That's quite exciting. We had both kinds of offsides in 3 seconds as a faceoff is forthcoming.
It's the way that I like it.
The more offsides, the better.
It's been, a fantastic period from both teams, and Boston definitely hasn't played poorly enough to be down by 3 at this point, but, just some really good back-and-forth hockey.
Face-off and neutralized is tied up and won back by the Pride. Janine Weber turning with it. Good job there by Field and Skarupa staying onside as Field turns that one just wide of the Buffalo goal. Johnson knocks it into the corner. Skarupa turning with it. Back to the point. That one fired through traffic, patted away by Levier. Loose. Second whack at it. Third one as well. And a sliding block there by Vince. I believe got part of that shot coming through from Field. They collide hard behind the play. Far side corner kept in and knocked back out finally to neutralize there by Buffalo. Gedman did a good job keeping the pressure on there for a second. Another big collision. Skarupa goes flying through one of the Buffalo players right in front of us. Penalty coming. Greco having some words to say about that.
That's
another big collision.
Still down on the ice, and that's
Edney
not
is
good
slowed
news.
in front of the scorer's table.
That was a crushing hit by Skarupa. She's getting up slowly, and
we certainly hope it is Sarah Edney that she is okay. Her defense partner, Jackie Greco, skating over to check on her here, and now the training staff for the Buttes out as well. Can sense a little bit of frustration in that hit from Haley Skarupa, who's done a pretty good job here creating some chances for herself, but has been one of the few Pride offensive players who's really been able to create anything in the Buffalo defensive zone.
Yeah, and Skarupa's a player who really has been able to put the puck in the net against this Buffalo team. And like you said, the frustration may be doubled by the fact that she's been shut down so far.
I remember that game she played for Connecticut last year where she walked in here and just put up that hat trick in the first 25 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Completely demoralized the entire Buffalo defense.
Edney's back up. She looks to be all right at least, and we're going to get another Buffalo power play. They had some good chances last time. Shureb missing at the very last second, deflecting it just wide, and she also fanned in the slot where she had kind of an open shot there, put one over top of the net. Shureb all over the place on that now that I think of it, and hopefully she can really connect this time.
Boston will get an early clear there on their third kill of the night. Kelly Murphy turning with it, back ahead to Aaliyah. Fires it in behind the Pride goal, slowed down by Ott. She'll leave it there for Mangine, who will look for an alley to get it out, and does. All the way back down the ice. Excuse me, that was Lexi Bender who fired that one back the other way. Levier colliding there with one of her defenders as Buffalo looks to get it back the other way. Aaliyah picks this pass up here. Ready to lead that drop pass and does to Bowie, turned away by Ott. Some good awareness there for the Buffalo power play forwards, knowing where their teammates were. But Boston able to recollect, fires it back down the other way. Minute 10 seconds and counting remaining here in this Buffalo power play. Bowie stretch pass knocked down by Kunachika, left there for Maddie Aaliyah. Skamura shot fired. That one goes high and wide. Looks like it got deflected partly by Parker. Skamura gets it back. Haley Skamura. That shot deflected through traffic wide. Kunachika turning with it, trying to get back to Skamura. But glove down the line kept in here. It's a glove pass by Murphy to Skamura, and we will have a face-off forthcoming.
A good play by Murphy to keep it in, but caught her off balance. She wasn't able to get back to the puck. Fortunately, Skamura got there first.
And Skamura, who had her back turned, didn't see. I don't think she saw that Murphy gloved it down. So we have about 50 seconds of power play time remaining here. 5:41 still in our second period. Face-off and neutralized in front of the Buffalo bench. One here by the Buttes. Skated up ahead by Lewicki. Back to the point taken here by Chesson. Buffalo's second unit out here. Created some chances the first time. That one flutters through traffic. Is knocked down by Ott. Taken here and kept in by Lewicki. Gets it to Stroka now. Gets it back. Lewicki. Her shot blocked. Able to get it back. Good job there by Stearns blocking that first effort. Shurup. Back looking down low for Stroka. Stroka can't find the handle on it. Shurup there to help out. Just 15 seconds of power play time remaining here for Buffalo. Shurup back to Lewicki. Back now to Chesson. Chesson fires. That one blocked again by Stearns. Fired by Shurup. That one hit off the side of the net. Boston's back to full strength. Skarupa's out of the box. Buffalo now 1 for 3 with the power play here tonight. Bad angle shot fought off the stick of Taylor Accursi. And the Pride look to get back the other way, but it's pinned in again by Lewicki. Floats back the other way. Here's Skarupa, one-on-one with Chesson. Haley Skarupa creates some room, and Chesson, the veteran defender, the former silver medalist, just read it the whole way, waits her out, and a great defensive play there by Lisa Chesson.
Yeah, Skarupa able to lose possession, regain possession, and Chesson stuck with her. That was a great play. And now Buffalo pushing. Into the slot, fires a terrific! Fresh off the bench, it's Corinne Bowie with a rocket. She scores, it's 4-0. So once again, that's a play that's started by Lisa Chesson. She breaks up the play by Skarupa, sticks with her, gets the puck back up the ice, and Ilya and Skamura go to work down low. Finally, the puck pops out to Bowie, who just buries it where nobody is going to get it.
The officials might want to go check that netting. There might be a hole in that puck. That was a laser.
It was blazing.
An absolute cannon blast from Corinne Bowie, the Buffalo captain. And the Buttes have a 4-0 lead here in this second period. Just over 4 minutes remaining. Their 31st shot on goal of the evening might have been the most powerful. And Brittany Ott has been given the rest of the night off, and it's hard for me to say that any of this really is her fault.
It's definitely not. This is definitely a move to try to shake up this Boston team, and I don't think Ott throwing her stick out in the corridor in frustration, and I don't blame her. She really has not played poorly, but Buffalo is not going to lose this game. They are not going to lose this game.
A Kersey back the other way. Floats that one up over the shoulder. It's Brianna Lang, number 42, who will step into goal here for Boston. A nice how do you do there from a Kersey, trying to test her 5 seconds into her first action of the game. Buffalo still with possession. They don't think they're done yet. Parsons. Back down low, taken here by Vint. Back down low to a Kersey. Taylor a Kersey trying to find the handle and can't find it. And now back the other way, a quick 3-on-2 for the Pride. It's Mangine. Her pass across, picked up and fired on, turned away off the stick of Tomaselli by Levier. Mangine. Parker can't find the handle on it. Taken back by a Kersey. Able to drag it back out of her own zone. Fires it across here now to Parsons. Lexi Bender. Her pass knocked away by Parsons. Collides there and neutralized with Tomaselli as it comes back down here and below the Boston goal line for Alyssa Gagliardi. Gagliardi off the glass, back to neutralize. Jackie Greco now with it for Buffalo. Taken here by Kunachika. Pass across to Edney. Good to see her back on the ice out here now with Greco. Aaliyah drags it inside. Maddie Aaliyah, backhand chance fought off by Lang. She is feeling very comfortable and confident there in front of the goal.
Yeah, coming in cold in her first action, down 4-0, and she's not giving anything up right now.
Greco fires. That one blocked on in front. Aaliyah trying to backhand that one onto Lang and couldn't quite. Boston turning quickly back the other way, trying to create an odd man situation. That one deflected off the leg of Greco in behind the goal to Dempsey and just couldn't quite connect with Smelker out in front. Aaliyah off the glass, skips it to herself. Maddie Aaliyah drags it inside, fires on. That one glove knocked down and held by Lang. 2:22 remaining here in period number 2.
Now, if we could digress a little bit back to those Buffalo power plays, though they are unsuccessful, they definitely set them up for a couple of goals here. And we talked about, Justin mentioned earlier, how Casorso is so integral to that, and she's so important that they've replaced her with a forward. She's such a great offensive mind back on defense. So they've been playing 4 forwards, 1 D, and it's working so far.
And getting Lewicki back there on that second unit has really helped them cycle that puck very well. Buffalo fires it back in. Just over 2 minutes remaining here in this second period. Boston looking for something to build off here in the last couple of minutes. They have tons of firepower that just haven't quite been able to connect here so far tonight. But don't count them out for a second. Here's Haley Skarupa. Back through center ice, creates some room. Skarupa with a full head of steam, blockered away by Levier. That one pinballs around, ultimately goes off to the far side half wall, and a good job there by Shura beating Paige Harrington to that puck, knocking it back down into the Boston end with just over 90 seconds remaining here in the period. Skarupa. That one knocked away from Tomaselli. Buffalo defensively here tonight has been very strong in keeping Boston from getting these chances they're about to have right now. Here's a 3-on-2, and I don't think that it was Tomaselli on the far side realized that Skarupa had not brought the puck into the zone. They're way offsides.
Lucky break there for Buffalo as Caleb Parsons had triple pivoting there from forward to backwards and stumbling a bit, and Boston was outside, so they've been clear into that net.
Faceoff will come back here to neutral ice in front of the Boston bench. Harrington turning with it. Knocked up ahead, colliding there. Parker going right through Murphy. Parsons comes across to help her out. Parsons leaves it back there for Murphy. Up ahead, that one deflected off the stick of Bowie. Back up here to Mangine. A collision from the Buffalo bench. There's a couple players trying to find their footing and find the puck as we're into the final minute here of the period. Parker had it knocked away, able to get it back. Chips it in behind Levier and the Buffalo goal. 50 seconds remaining. Tomaselli tangled up there with Parsons. Parsons content to kill a few seconds here. Comes loose now to Vint for Buffalo. Into Murphy behind the goal. Far side, Bowie, back to Murphy. Now to Acursi. Taylor Acursi drags it around Bender for a second, but a great job there by Lexi Bender fighting through and getting it back to Stearns. Stearns pass across in front, looking there for Smelker just out of her reach. Gagliardi fires on to the crest of the jersey of Levier, who holds on, no rebound for a faceoff.
And we're seeing this Boston team, they really know what they want to do, but they're just missing by a little bit. It might be the effect of not really playing together that much, only 3 games into the season, and one way that Buffalo combated that was bringing in players that were familiar with each other, and that's not necessarily Boston has going for their advantage.
Greco up ahead to Kunachika. She'll get it out of the zone. 12 seconds and counting now, 10 seconds. We'll see if Boston get anything going back the other way here with the time remaining. It's knocked right back in by Edney. Gagliardi can't find the handle. 3 seconds. Now 2, now 1. And we are through 40 minutes of play here at the Harbor Center. Didn't get a chance to ask coaches Sealing and Mooney before the game what their ideal situation would have been after 2 periods, but I have to imagine it would have to look very similar to this on the scoreboard. It is 4-0 Buttes.
Yeah, and we've mentioned it a couple of times. There's no counting out any of these teams. These games go down to the last whistle a lot of times, but Buffalo really looking very sharp out there. Boston kind of struggling a little bit to find each other, like we were just talking about a couple of seconds ago. So, just great hockey game so far. Justin, what do you see?
It's more of the same out of the Buttes. Boston just can't sustain any offensive pressure. Everything they got is real quick hit. Nothing sustainable, like I said. And I think it's attributed to all the Buttes playing good defense, but more so a good offense. You say the best defense is a good offense, and I think that's what we're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, and you mentioned it and I mentioned it, and just to expand on it a little bit, Boston looks a little bit off, not being able to catch each other, and Buffalo combated that. There's a lot of fresh faces in here, but they brought in the Adrian Trio, a line that scored almost 200 points in Division III hockey, and then they've also got Skimura and Ilya. They were high school teammates, so they're familiar with each other, didn't play at the same college, but definitely playing well together here tonight. So,
tough choice to make for the coaching staff when Jeff Jones comes back. Speaking of that, the Adrian Trio. Yeah. Because they didn't play the last game. They were scratched, and they're making sure they never scratch again in this game. They're causing a lot of trouble out there for Boston.
Yeah, sure.
And when Jeff Jones comes back, who are you going to scratch? You're not going to scratch Aaliyah or Acursi or Skimira.
Yeah.
And not only that, do you leave Acursi on that top line with Vint and Bowie, considering how well they have played together tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Acursi got another goal again today. How can we take that away from her? It's it is going to be a tough choice, like Justin said, and sure, she's not on the score sheet, I don't think, but she's been all
everywhere
over the place.
Yeah, so I say Lewicki had the assist on the goal. I don't think Shurab ended up getting a secondary, but that trio, especially, and you mentioned Lewicki playing the point on the power play, they have been responsible for so much pressure. And sometimes we look at shots, but it's hard to account for the tangible pressure that line has been putting onto Brittany Yada and now to Lang. But they've just been keeping Boston pinned back, and some of those chances just kind of spitball down to eventually will become goals because Boston can't get out of their own end.
Yeah, what can you say about a game that's been played so systematically well by a Buffalo team? One like maybe we've never seen before. This definitely isn't last year's final where they're counting on the goalie to bail them out. 60 shots a game. Boston doesn't even have 20 yet.
Speaking of all-world goaltenders, Brianne McLaughlin has joined our staff down at center ice, helping them find the winning chuck-a-puck. Out there with a goal stick and all. She got a nice little standing O when she was announced there for the ceremony before the game. Entirely deserved. I don't know if I will ever live to see another goaltender dominate another women's hockey game to the extent that Brianne McLaughlin dominated Boston.
And as you say that, Stedman puts 1-5 hole with his chuck-a-pucks.
Well, Kelly Stedman is also not your average chuck-a-puck shooter.
I guess I'll have to concede to that point.
Guys, we're going to take a quick break here as the Zambonis prepare to hit the ice. We will be back here with third period action. You're watching the NWHL on Cross Ice Pass. We have teams in the tunnels, guys. That must mean we're just moments away from getting back underway here. Third period is upon us at the Harbor Center here in Buffalo, New York, and I think I've just about calmed down from all the excitement of the second period. Just in time to get right back in it. It's 4-0 Buffalo through 2 periods of play. This is the biggest deficit the Boston Pride have faced in franchise history, and Buffalo is firing on every cylinder imaginable.
Yeah, not only that, but shots. And if you take a look at the 716 Sport Podcast Twitter, Justin's been posting up some shot selection, and you can see that Buffalo's, of their 32 shots, 4 have come from above the circle. They're high-danger shots, and they've been capitalizing.
You can't hear Mike because he doesn't have a microphone, but Mike, who is a member of this team this evening, has been tracking all the shots and everything. So if you want to take a look at that information, courses and everything for this game through the first 2 periods, they are all available on the internet. It's a wonderful place.
TLDR, Buffalo is dominating.
Buffalo has a lot of shots, and as a result, they are winning 4-0. They've chased Brittany Ott, and they're looking to put this one to bed. There are 20 more minutes of regulation play ahead of us. Buffalo in their home powder blue uniforms with white and black trim will be skating now from left to right on your stream. And the Boston Pride in their visiting black uniforms with white and yellow trim will be skating from right to left. The only change in the starters is the goaltender change for Boston. It is Brianna Lang who will stay in here for period number 3. She came in with about 5 minutes to play here in the second period. We are underway in period number 3. Bender. Pass ahead now gets through to Skarupa, trying to throw it through to Weber, but couldn't quite get there. Weber taken out of the play by Chesson, leaves it back behind there now for Vint. Vint back behind for Chesson. Taken away by Field. Chesson still jostles with it, tries to kick it back to her stick, fighting through and able to get it out of her own zone. That one fired in by Gagliardi, but out of play.
Souvenir for a small fan who chases that puck down and is victorious.
She is on the hunt, and she has found her souvenir, jumping back jubilantly, enjoying the NWHL action here tonight. A crowded Harbor Center, and it's great to see it here for the banner raising ceremony and everything. Kelly Stedman and Brianne McLaughlin coming back to celebrate with their teammates. Just a very exciting night here, and the Buttes have helped the fans keep that excitement going here by putting through 4 goals. Jackie Greco in behind her own goal now. Lost the handle on it. Scampering back there. Taken away by Smelker for Boston. Back to the point. Mangine across. Paige Harrington looking for a tip on. It's deflected away by Greco. Smelker. Turning with it. Smelker back to the point to Mangine. Taken away now by Maddie Elia. Kunachika. The other way, trying to tip that one on through to Edney. That one went just wide. Swartz. Fought for taken back here. Dempsey tried to drag it through in front of her own net. Backhand chance on there by Skamura. Turned away by Lang. Elia keeps it in at the line. Pinballs, though, back out here to neutral ice. And now Courtney Kunachika and Kayla Parsons both had it taken off of their stick. Here's Tomaselli back inside. Backhand chance on the rebound. Turned away by Levier. The puck is behind the net. There's a Pride player in the net.
That's not how you score goals, Jeff.
Rumor has it. Puck fired all the way down onto Lang, and she will cover up there for a faceoff. I believe that Levier thought the puck was somewhere underneath her and Parker, and the puck was being calmly collected by Kunachika, who I believe was the only player who found it in behind the Buffalo goal.
Thank goodness for Kunachika and her 1 minute 50-second shift, or 57-second shift. She was able to keep that puck controlled while, like as you said, Levier thought it was beneath her trapper.
Sure, been behind the play there to Shiroka. Taken away back the other way now. Boston trying to get something going here. Shurab, though, everywhere here tonight. As the puck pinballs away here, back the other way for Boston. It's Parker. Her shot is blocked away by Parsons. Back to Shurab. Knocked down by Johnson. Shiroka following it up. Patiently waiting out the Boston forward and takes it back here to neutral ice. Takes center ice, turns and dumps it in as her line will go off for a change. Gedman. Pass ahead taken here by Tomaselli. Juggles. Able to get her pass ahead, though. Turning with it now the other way. Gagliardi tried to drag it inside, but it's taken calmly off of her stick there. And Lisa Chesson just doing everything that she can here tonight. That calm veteran presence here on the Buffalo blue line. having a number of great defensive plays. Pinball's losing the slot to Skarupa. Backhand chance, patted away by the right leg of Levier. Boston now keeping the pressure on. Field had it taken away again. It's Lisa Chesson. Getting it back, though, for the Pride. It's Skarupa from the high slot. Fires it on. A floater. Through traffic, she scores.
A lot of traffic out there for Levier. I'm not even sure that she saw it. And just a nice fluttering puck sailing through the top corner. I mean, really, if Levier had seen it, what was she going to do about that?
Talk about goal scorer instinct. Skarupa didn't try to fire that shot hard. She just tried to float it, knowing that Levier was down, and there were about 5 or 6 players from both sides in between her and Levier. Just floated the hockey equivalent of a knuckleball into the top left corner, and Boston's on the board. It is 4-1 with 16:43 remaining. If I've learned anything in 3 years of history, you can never sleep on the Boston Pride, and they will not go quietly. Dempsey, her pass deflected away, collided there with the near side linesman, who thankfully appears to be okay. Greco. Her back pass ahead, looking for Skamura, deflected and kept in by the Pride. Smelker. Taken away, though, by Edney. Edney bank pass around here to Kunachika. Kunachika able to get it back out here to neutralize, turned right back in by Parrington off the glove of Jackie Greco. In behind the goal, around hard, looking back for Kunachika, but intercepted by Smelker. Edney let it go, thinking Kunachika was all alone, and didn't see the Boston forward coming. Skamura turns, knocks it back out here to neutralize. Short of icing as Gedman picks it back up here for the Pride. Gedman back the other way. Her pass goes all the way down the ice. Edney and Parsons, the first two there. So that's Murphy and Parsons, and we have an icing call forthcoming. Just shy of 4.5 minutes gone here in this third period. Boston's got that goal here now. For Buffalo, this is that dangerous time where Boston's going to feel a little bit of confidence now and try to swarm them here. A big 5 minutes coming up here for both teams if Buffalo wants to hold on to this big lead.
Yeah, so Muni and Sealing show them the Adrian trio, and I guarantee that they're out there with one goal in mind, and that is a goal.
Back to the point, kept in here by Murphy. Glove down, and the second effort there from Tomaselli wins it out here to neutralize. Kalia Johnson. Pass ahead, looking back for Dempsey. And the skates of Tomaselli, who was able to find the handle on it. Johnson. Turning with it, a big collision back the other way now. Kalia Johnson again with it.
Lewicki picked Kalia Johnson's pocket, kicked it up to herself, and almost had a breakaway for her efforts.
Pass the other way. There's the speed of Lewicki again. Couldn't quite handle it cleanly, but she's got a little bit of room to work with. Around behind the Boston goal. Slides it through to Murphy. Murphy winds it. Fires, fought off by Lang. Loose in the slot for a second, but the Pride defenders are there to knock it into the corner.
And that's something they haven't been so far tonight. So Boston, that shake-up in goal, Boston's been looking a little bit sharper.
That one fired through. Blocked down in front, taken there by Schroka. Looking for her there was Vint, and it just skipped away from her. Here's Tomaselli back for Boston. She has had a lot of ice time here tonight, and it's been quality ice time for 27 in black. They're doing a great job here, especially defensively. Here comes Buffalo back the other way. That one fired on to Lang. No rebound that time. She'll let on cleanly, and that was a very fortuitous bounce there for her as Corey Mbui was knocking at the door, waiting for that puck to pop free.
Yeah, Chesson, again, just showing what she can do, taking that puck from the Boston player behind the net and taking it all the way down for a quality shot on Lang.
5.5 even gone here in our third period. Shots 35-22 for Buffalo to this point. Face off here to the right of the Boston goal. It's tied up in one back there by the Pride. Bender's back pass intercepted by Bowie, looking in front for Vint and just out of her reach. Burns turns with it and neutralized, taken there by Accursi. Taylor Accursi turns it right back in, picked up there by Gagliardi. Gagliardi now with it. Cutting through. Gagliardi gets it through there to Weber, and a great back check there again by Corey Mbui, who plays end to end and will not. She's not one of those forwards there that will let up after a long shift and be lax in her defensive responsibilities. She will get back hard at every shift, and it shows there again. Mangine across to Harrington. Harrington through. Popped away from Skarupa, back to Harrington. Play came off sides. Delayed off sides as Harrington lets the puck roll away there to Vint. Rebecca Vint, the only Pew player, tried to drag it around Harrington. No such luck. Here's Haley Skarupa. She stick-handled her teammate far offside, and Field floundering, trying to find any sort of footing to get back on sides, and couldn't quite in time. Skarupa put 3 people on the ice, but unfortunately Field was one of them.
The second time that she's gone 1-on-4 and looked pretty good doing it. I think we were talking between periods how she was one of the last women cut from the national team, and Boston is lucky to have her this season.
Paige Harrington's pass across, taken here by Manji, and across tipped in by Dempsey. Smelker chasing after with a little bit of room to work with there in that far side corner. It's cut down quickly, though, by Elia, and taken back here by Kunachika. As far as the blue line, and now taken ahead here. Here's Elia. Tried to drag it inside, had her legs taken out from under her there by Harrington, who doesn't agree with the call, but truly, has any player ever penalized agreed with any call?
Well, Lewicki did voluntarily go to the box after her trip earlier in the game, so maybe just that one time, but your point is made.
And it was a great defensive play, and she's got an argument there, but at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own stick. That's a trip by all definition of the word.
It is former Butte Paige Harrington, who received her championship ring earlier this evening, who will sit for 2 or less. The Buffalo power play has looked very strong on all 3 attempts. They are 1 for 3. Here's Lisa Chesson. Her pass across to the aforementioned Kristen Lewicki. Back there to Shurab. Back to Lewicki. Across to Chesson. Back to Lewicki. Flat pass down to Accursi. That went off the side of the goal. Shurab back across to Accursi. Up high, Chesson. Back to Taylor Accursi. Had that power play goal earlier for Buffalo, her 4th of the season. Deflected through traffic off the stick of Schroka just wide. Accursi back to Shurab, knocks it into the corner. Gagliardi chasing after it, gets it as far as the blue line, but it's kept in. Chesson. Fanned on the first chance with Parker knocking on the door, but able to keep it in the zone there before Parker had a clean break from her own blue line. That one turned on, knocked away by Lang. Second attempt by Gagliardi. The same part of the glass kept in again here by Lewicki. Across to Chesson. Back to Lewicki. Across down low, tipped on by Schroka just wide. Gagliardi still can't quite find an avenue around Schroka and Shurab out of the zone. Buffalo keeps it in one more time. 8 minutes gone here in this period. Accursi, 45 seconds of power play time remain here for Buffalo. They've been in the zone so far for all of it. Chesson to Schroka. Now Accursi, they switch spots. Chesson deflected through traffic and patted away by Lang. Shurab back up high to Lewicki. Back to Shurab, turning into the corner. Schroka behind the goal. Accursi turning with it in the high slot. Leaves it for Lewicki. Chesson with a Shurab. Cross trying to float that one through to Accursi. These Buffalo power play forwards have got to be exhausted in their own right. Lewicki shot fire through, deflected just wide. Taken and fired off the back of the Boston cage. Parker will finally get just enough. And with that as well, Boston is back to full strength.
And Boston PK is absolutely no answer for that Adrian Trio. No answer for that line.
I think they kind of played themselves into a long shift. By the end of it, they looked like they needed to change to their own, but you can't really do that if you're getting a bunch of deflected shots and no one gets a whistle at any point. Boston never cleared the zone. Caleb Parsons. Down low, turning with it there. Bowie lost the handle, and there's danger zone. There's Skarupa back the other way with lots of open ice. A great job getting back by Parsons. Shot rolls onto Levy, and she pads it away. And just a great job there by Caleb Parsons. That is probably the last person on the ice if you're Buffalo you want to see with that much open ice in front of them. Vint and Skarupa jostle there on the wall. Vint takes it back down low to Murphy. Across to Parsons. Bank pass ahead, knocked ahead by Skamura. And taken here by Corinne Bowie. Bowie drags it inside. Bowie backhand chance, couldn't quite get the shot off. Johnson stayed with her just enough. That puck deflects away, and Edney able to get back ahead of Jillian Dempsey. He leaves it there for her partner, Jackie Greco. Greco fights it through. Taken here by Kunachika. Numbers for the Buttes. Kunachika across to Accursi. She scores!
It was only a matter of time before that happened. Buffalo is playing the Boston team like a marionette, and Kunachika and Accursi once again connecting. And, Justin mentioned it earlier. How do you insert Jess Jones back into this lineup that scored 5 goals? As many goals in one game as Buffalo has had in 2 so far. This is just an outpouring of ability by this Buffalo team.
Kunachika really thread the needle on that pass. There's almost no space there to get the pass through, and she squeezed it in, and way to finish by Kersey.
Yeah, it's the second time she's done that, getting it underneath the sliding defenseman for a goal earlier in the game.
It is the 5th of the season for Taylor Kersey. They have struggled at points offensively, and she has not been dealing with any of those symptoms. 5 of the 8 Buffalo goals on the season, but quickly back the other way off the ensuing faceoff. The Boston Pride get one right back. It's Jillian Dempsey, and a beautiful pass across the crease there from Schwartz, and the Pride will not go quietly. It's 5-2.
The Buffalo gets caught chasing a little bit, and maybe anxious after getting such a big lead on this Boston team, but they're going to settle down now, I'm sure. With 9:36 left in this game, the only thing that they need to do is just shut it down.
So 9:36 remaining, 5-2 Buffalo. It is Dempsey's goal now. That is Boston's second of the night. Shuriba ahead looking for Schroka. Collides hard there with Bender. Taken back by Dempsey. Deflected around. Smelker got a piece of it. Now Schwartz as far as the Buffalo defense pair, where it's getting ahead here by Chesson. Read well there by Jordan Burns. Chesson now to Lewicki, back to Burns. Ahead now to Shurib. Floats that one on. Lang will stick it down, and she'll decide to cover with Lewicki streaking in there on the right side wing and hold for a faceoff.
Something that we might be experiencing here is something that Buffalo has struggled with in the past, and that's having to shorten the bench a little bit and get your more talented forwards a little bit more ice time. You talked about how long we've seen Tomaselli tonight, so it might be some tired legs by that Boston team, and coming back right after the goal to get one is great, but Buffalo is definitely taking it to this Boston team right now.
Parker, her pass ahead. Taking a skate ahead by the aforementioned Tomaselli. Parsons with it for Buffalo, jostling there with Tomaselli. They come around here to the near side. Vint got a piece of it. Bowie's there as well. Parsons chasing back after it and plays around behind her own goal, where it's picked up by a Kersey. Now Colleen Murphy. Back around to Bowie, but taken away here by Harrington for Boston. Paige Harrington with that long reach, backhand chance on Levier. Rebound chance on, they score. It's Parker who scoops up the rebound. Levier got a piece of Harrington's original effort, but Parker was right there to take the rebound.
It was a nice move by Harrington to get the puck to the center of the ice and make Levier get up on top of her crease. That opened up both posts on either side, and fortunately for Boston, Parker was there to bury it.
And here we are with 8.5 minutes to go here in the third, and suddenly this is a 2-goal game. Boston will not go away. There is a lot of talent on this team, and they can score in bunches. This is not the time for Buffalo to relent defensively and get sloppy in their own end. They got caught chasing on the second Boston goal scored by Dempsey, and they're watching Parker on the back door. No one ties her up, and she just deposits that rebound right in the back of the net. Lexi Bender throws that puck, tried to fire it into the Buffalo zone, ended up firing it right into the Buffalo bench as the right side of the bench ducks for cover. Kelsey Newman signaling that she is okay. It helps to be wearing a full goalie mask.
Yeah, no, she's ready for anything at this point.
Face off here in front of the Boston bench. Aaliyah trying to drag it ahead, but it's taken away here by the Pride. Weber ahead looking for Field, scooped up here by Skarupa, but taken right back out here to neutralize. Bender, bounce pass ahead taken here by Janine Weber, swept away from her though by Kunachika. Skarupa turning with it, lost the handle, taken here by Kunachika. Courtney Kunachika across, Skabura just missed wide, glove side. And again though, it's the playmaking and maybe a little bit understated playmaking there by Courtney Kunachika, who's been doing a great job here tonight setting up all her teammates. Skabura tried to tuck it in back door, and that one off the side of the cage. Aaliyah fires through, that one went just wide. Langbaum got a piece of that one with the glove. Weber across to Skarupa, drags it through. Haley Skarupa working her way inside, taken away though by Edney, fought off the side of the goal. We have a collision in the corner. Skarupa got bumped by Edney, went into the boards. The puck's under Levier, and we have a face-off.
You mentioned the frustration of Boston, and it's really coming to the forefront here. Skarupa gives Greco a little extra check in the back on the way to the bench, and down at the other end, Gagliardi and Skimura were going at it pretty heavily with the sticks, a little choppy on the shins. So
Gagliardi went and set the old-fashioned pick play to allow Weber to get around her, and Skimura ended up running right into it and was not too pleased. And We harken back to the second period, a collision as we pause now with Buffalo with a 2-on-1. Shiroka shot blocked away by Mangine. Quickly though on it, Sherb had a piece of it, taken right back though by Parker. Her stretch pass out of the reach of its intended target, Jordan Smelker, all the way down just shy of icing, where it's picked up by Burns across to Chesson. Back to Burns, here now to Shiroka, lost it in her skates, taken here by Harrington. Turns and fires it back below the Buffalo goal line. Chesson leaves it there for Burns. Burns across, bank pass ahead, looking to spring. Shiroka ends up springing Lewicki. Kristen Lewicki turns it on, fires that one just up over the crossbar. Limitless speed even this late into the game here for Lewicki. Drags it inside and couldn't quite pick up the handle on it. She went around the first Boston defender, but there was one left. Stearns. Backhand pass down to Tomaselli. Comes back to Stearns. Back to Tomaselli. Just over 6 minutes remaining. That pass goes back down out of the reach of everyone, and Johnson back in her own end, being hounded by Bowie. Leaves it there. Gedman. Bank pass ahead. Tomaselli. Fire that one back down the other way, looking for Parker out of everyone's reach. That's going to go for an icing call with 5:54 remaining here in our third period.
A little bit uncharacteristic of Buffalo to lose themselves in their own end twice, but also at the same time we saw the same thing in Connecticut when they allowed 2 goals in less than a minute. So that's something that Buffalo is really going to have to take a look at. Obviously, this is a great game and cause for celebration, but definitely things that need to get shored up a little bit here.
Oh, dragged in front by Vint, had a second whack at it. Referee waved it off right away. Original save was made by Lang. Vint got another whack at it. It did eventually end up in the back of the net. It will not count. They waved that one off immediately, I believe, saying that play had been whistled dead, puck was stopped, something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to say whether the official lost track or if, again, Vint made a little bit of contact with Lang down in the crease, but
I think she may have, regardless of whether or not that was the call. So
nonetheless,
a good whistle regardless.
Yeah.
That's the second time now Buffalo's tried to win that faceoff forward and got some good chances right off the draw, pressing right into that Boston defense. Wonder if they saw something on the film. That time it almost came through in the form of their 6th goal of the evening. Aaliyah turning within that far side corner, gets it back to the point. Burns, her shot deflected high into the corner. Skamura chasing after it, knocked away from her. Able to get it back though. Haley Skamura turning with it, taken away by Gagliardi, who collides there with Kunachika. Back all the way down to the Buffalo end. Stretch pass tipped in by Aaliyah. Only as far though as Lexi Bender across to Gagliardi. Her pass ahead to Weber. Weber across now to Skarupa. Off a skate into the corner. Weber still there for Boston. Gets it back to the point. Mangine working it inside. Turning with it. Finds a teammate. That one deflected off the stick of Weber and into the corner. Skamura back to the point. Harrington's pass across. Out of the reach of Mangine, out of the zone. Harrington had it taken away from her there by a former teammate, Courtney Kunachika. Aaliyah. Her pass across, dangerous. Sure able to get a piece of it, but Boston taking it right back the other way. Skarupa fires from a bad angle. That one caught high off the jersey of Levier. Got bumped a little bit. Puck came loose, and we play on. Lewicki trying to drag it inside. Lewicki still with it, trying to go around Mangine a second time and couldn't quite. That one deflected, kicked in here by Shiroka. Kaylin Shiroka turning with it. Down low there to Lewicki. Fighting off the back check from Dempsey. There to Shurib. Rubbed out of the play, though, and taken back by Mangine for Boston. Just over 4 minutes remaining here in our third period. Banked ahead by Schwartz. She and Edney both go chasing after it. Squirts loose here to Shiroka. Deflected around. Back to the point. Blocked away by Edney. Shot came through from Gagliardi. Couldn't quite get it onto Levier. Stearns turning with it, fires it in behind the Buffalo goal. Edney right there, waiting for it. Bank pass ahead, looking for Shiroka, but is intercepted by Tomaselli. But a good job getting back defensively by Edney to knock it away. Tomaselli looking for that back pass in front, lost the handle. Edney's going to take it, fire it to the blue line. Bender's waiting for it. Turns it right back into the corner, deflected in front of the Buffalo goal. Second crack at it, leaks through the crease and wide. Boston swarming here. We'll keep our eye on Lang in goal as well. See if and when they decide to pull the goaltender. Buffalo finally able to clear a great effort play there by Schroka. They'll get at least a partial change here off of that. Comes here to Edney. Edney will turn and get it right back out. That one, though, is going to go all the way down the ice. That won't help things. We'll see if Buffalo's going to call their timeout here. I feel like they might, with an even 3 minutes remaining. Faceoff will come all the way back down here to the Buffalo defensive zone. They got a couple of fresh legs out there. Vint and Accursi at least were able to jump over the board. Stroker's been trapped out there for what feels like a small eternity.
Yeah, it's been a hard shift for Edney as well, so she's going to look to get to the bench as soon as possible.
Yeah, the oldest trick in the book is you wait for everyone to skate all the way back and line up for the face-off so they can skate a little slower and catch their breath, and then you call the timeout and bring them all back over to the bench. That's veteran coaching move there by Rick Seeley to give his team a much-needed rest here with 3 minutes remaining in the third.
And if I could make just a brief observation, the reason that Buffalo was so successful in the first 2 periods is they were just all over Boston. And we saw it down here in the last possession in the Buffalo zone. They let the puck go down low, and there really wasn't anybody crashing down to chase it. So maybe backing off a little bit and falling into old habits, they got to really stay on their toes for this last 3 minutes and make sure that they bury this puck at least one more time.
So 3 minutes remaining here in our third period, 5-3 in favor of Buffalo. Boston has had 2 goals here in the third period to keep things close. Shots 41-29 in favor of the Buttes. But third period has really been more Boston controlling the puck here, especially the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, we saw in the first 5 minutes, Buffalo was really kind of playing Boston perfectly. And then since then, it's been all Boston, really, even with Buffalo scoring that 1 goal.
So Boston's goaltender Lang will stay in at least for now. We will see if and when they decide to go for the 6th skater. That's a phrase that's very hard to say fast, or so I learned. Face off to the left of Levier. Tied up in one back by the Pride. Skarupa fires, saved by Levier, and a big one right off the draw. Mangine turns it down low, looking for Field. Jostling there with Edney. Squirts loose to Harrington. Harrington down low back to Weber, looking back at the point for Skarupa, but out of her reach all the way back down to the Boston end. The last couple Buffalo players will get out now for that much-needed change. Great job there by Vint. Bank pass looking back for Accursi. She and Skarupa chase after it. Skarupa the first one there for the Pride. Taken back, though, by Bowie. Down low to Accursi off the back of the cage. Still they jostle for it to his side. Bowie picks it up for Buffalo. Corin Bowie turns that one on, deflected through a couple of bodies and into the corner. Accursi had it poked away from her. Boston back the other way. Fields bank pass only as far as Chesson at her own blue line. Takes it right back away. Second whack at it. Still able to maintain her posturing, and she'll skate it up herself. Lisa Chesson. Pass blocked away by Bender. Throws a second one in front looking for Skamura, who had a couple whacks at it, and that one leaked just wide. I have no earthly idea how exactly that puck just got gloved down by Lisa Chesson. That was a solid, I thought, 1.5 feet over her head.
Go gadget arm.
Dangerous in front. It's Jillian Dempsey. Walks it, taken away by Levier. Penalty forthcoming with 1:28 remaining, and a huge save made there by the Buffalo netminder, with Boston looking to cut that lead to 1.
And whether or not she was foiled on with the hooking call, Levier made a great save to get across.
Jordan Burns will sit for 2 or less. Eric mentioned it is a hooking call. Boston has 88 seconds remaining to get 2. They need 2 to tie.
Interesting choice by the bench not to pull Lang immediately and get 6 on 4 with only 90 seconds remaining in the game. They really need to get this goal now.
We'll see what they do off the faceoff if they win the faceoff. It's won by Kunachika. Lang is still standing in goal. Boston has possession, so we'll keep an eye on that. Mangine plays catch and gets it back. That one deflected, loose in the slot. Schwartz couldn't quite find the handle on it. Out there with Parker and Smelker up front. There's Mangine. Her shot through traffic, patted away by Levier. Just over a minute remaining. Now to the bench goes the Boston netminder Lang. Scoops away and out to neutral ice. We have a minute remaining in the third. All hands on deck for the Buffalo defense. 6 on 4 for Boston. Skarupa walks in. That one fired up over the crossbar. Smelker into the corner. Turning with it. Dempsey back up high. Mangine shot through traffic and just wide of goal. Schwartz. Back to Skarupa, who's the extra skater. Fires that one through traffic off the goalpost. That one beat Levier, and the iron unkind to Skarupa. Puck leaks back out to neutral ice, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
And Edney had a nice save on the other side when Levier came off and let the backside wide open.
Parker. You have to wonder if that's the best chance Boston's going to get here to get that fourth goal. There's a Buffalo player who is surrounded. It's Murphy. Able to kill some time there. Comes loose to Parker. Looking down low to Dempsey. Taken away by Cheston, who will clear it down the ice. No icing with the player in the box. 5 seconds now. 4. Schwartz back to pick it up. She can turn around if she wants to, but this one is over. And the Buffalo Beauts defend home ice, and they have beaten the Boston Pride 5-3 to go to 2-1 as they try to keep pace with the first place Riveters. A big victory here for Buffalo tonight.
Yeah, and it's difficult to say what's more interesting here, that Buffalo is 2-1 or that the Boston Pride are 0-3 and continue to slide in the standings. It's been a tough season for this Boston team so far, and I have no doubt that they're going to find their game at some point, but they need to stop the slide soon.
Yeah, you saw flashes, especially in the third period from Boston offensively, of what they are capable of, and you figure sooner or later they're going to put it together, but Buffalo's glad that here tonight they had all the advantages. A great game really in all facets. Buffalo offensively matching their output for the first 2 games combined with 5 goals. Defensively doing a great job of limiting Boston's chances, and great goaltending as well from Levier. Good special teams. I don't know if you guys saw anything else outside of that, but really a great complete team win here for all members of the Buffalo Beauts.
Yeah, and I mean, after a game after spending most of it in the box, they come out within 88 seconds of a clean sheet. Can't really complain about that. They played disciplined hockey even when things got a little bit out of control, and Boston got chippy.
So that is it for us here. Your final score, Buffalo 5, Boston 3. For Eric Walschlager and Justin Ehrig, my name is Jeff Boyd. Thank you, as always, for joining us for NWHL action. We'll be back here at Harbor Center as the Beauts tap their sticks to celebrate a huge home crowd. We'll be back here at Harbor Center next Saturday. We're going to talk about another big matchup. The Riveters come to town next Saturday night at 7:30. We'll be with you then. Until then, have a great night, y'all.